Johnny Huck on the Blue Peter Guide to the Orchestra on BBC Radio.
Too boring, it's too little. Well done, Becca. Well done. Victory was the cover. Well played, dear. Thank you, dear. Lovely morning. Lovely. Thank you. I can give you my car key. Oh, sorry. Who drove?
I did.
I drove, yes. So that would be, and Captain says be a 7.
We were about here.
Be a 7. Well, you come across any chip shop from anywhere. Huh? Far better from down there. First shot you hit all morning. I think you're right. Absolutely. Splendid. First shot he hit the old morning. The teacher television camera. That's right. Go on.
Well, there was a damn fine round. Damn fine round. Who won the hospital? I said, look here, May Heslet, I said.
I think you were with Guinea, don't you know?
A guinea?
I thought you were all on sporting and there's that tap there to let you drive. Take the old tap.
Yeah.
Where you have to ban.
What are you doing?
I'm releasing it so that you can think it. It's in, you know. Oh!
He doesn't get nothing.
Let's call him, man. Hey. No.
Oh, God! No, leave it! There's money on it.
No, sorry. Oh, not fish. Well done, Richard.
Hi, Vivian.
Yo, where's the cap?
That's my ball, Mackin.
Where's the cap? Well, I'm giving it back to you.
Valerie? I don't know what else it was.
Oh, he's casting all over.
Not even it was a shark.
they are. I have to.
I played with the ones with the grooves on it this morning rather than the 5 irons.
Yeah.
The old club didn't actually have the 5 irons.
You're right. You have a very good score.
You've got a good day coming up on the 10th. Or May.
Oh yes, well, I certainly like broccoli.
You got an Albion suit on as well. Doesn't want the chair, okay?
Say better.
You don't want the chair, Pat, no? Or would you rather sit up on the... Just go inside. Or maybe you can
Someone might need to go to the day. Hi then, what do you think?
No, here's half a time.
Captain, Lady Captain, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me enormous pleasure to welcome you here today to Malone Golf Club's 100th birthday party. This is the start of Centenary year, and I hope you will relax and enjoy not only today, but the whole year and the various functions and things that the Centenary Committee have planned for you. I would like to give a special welcome to our Centenary Captain, Mr. Michael Cragen, our Centenary Lady Captain, Patsy Pedlow. To say they're hand-picked would be an understatement. It is indeed a great honour to be elected for Centenary year, and I'm sure you'll all join with me in wishing them the very best. An extra special welcome today for Kathleen McCausland, or Kai as she likes to be known. I know it's wrong to divulge a lady's age, but if I tell you, I hope she will forgive me if I tell you she was born on the 18th of December 1989, and she, anyway, she's 105 years old. And was elected a member of the golf club on the 5th of May 1921. It's hard to believe that when the club was founded on the 26th of April 1895 that Kathleen was a little girl, and when the meetings were being held on the schoolhouse on the Malone Road to found the golf club, she was running around. And it's very nice to have you here today, Mr. McCausland, and I hope you enjoy it. The last thing I have really to say is that when we look around us today at the setting here at Malone, we do indeed owe a big debt of gratitude to our predecessors who had the vision and foresight to move from Newforge Lane to Stranmillis to where the House of Sport was, and ultimately to Ballydrain. I think the setting here is second to none, and we are seeing it at its brilliant best today. Before we move on to the official proceedings, I'd just like to thank all the members of the Centenary Committee who have put so much work into not only today, but hopefully what will happen for the rest of the year. I'd like to thank the press for turning up to support us. I would also like to thank Victor Robinson for the enormous amount of work he's done with the sundial here, which you will have a chance to see later on. So if we then could go on for the official format for the day, what we plan to do is we will take the Malone flag down, replace it with the Centenary flag, and then we will go on to unveil the sundial, and then there will be tree planting by the captain and lady captain. So if I could start off perhaps by asking the immediate past captain, Dr. Brian Galler, if he would please bring down the Malone flag. And I'll hand you over to the captain, Mr. Michael Cragen.
Thank you very much, the honoured guest this day. And fellow members, may I be the first to wish you all a very happy birthday and congratulations. The hour has finally come for us to commence the celebration of the club's birthday 100 years ago. In doing so, we should remember and pay tribute to those who had the inspiration to found Malone Golf Club on the 26th of April 1895, thereby creating that from which following generations and we all derive so much pleasure. Let us also not forget the members who over the years have built up the fine golfing tradition and brought to this club the esteem with which it is held today, and of course acknowledged as one of the finest in the land. So, on this day we can look back with pride, and I'm sure we can look forward to the future with great confidence. It's only confetti. All things are now in place. But by bringing us to this point, an enormous amount of work, thought and careful planning has gone into the last 12 months in preparation for today and ensuing events throughout the year. A great debt of thanks, therefore, is due from all of us to Gordon Featherston and the Centenary Committee. And the committee comprising of solid citizens Nick Aggett, Geoffrey Coppell, Sidney Craig, Morris Diamond, Anne McLean, Patsy Pedlow, Margaret Stinson and Brian White. A wonderful job they have done. To the ladies, I would convey our thanks and total admiration for the magnificent floral arrangements displayed throughout the clubhouse. We are also very privileged to have with us on this historic occasion the band of the Royal Irish Regiment, and I'd ask you to show them your appreciation. And now, finally, before the party begins, as a first step into our second century, on your behalf, it is with pride and the greatest possible pleasure and honour I invite the Lady Captain and Miss McCausland to join me in raising the Centenary flag and unveiling the sundial to commemorate 100 years of golf at Malone.
That's great. Not just sugar. What about that 10 bob it cost you the phone, mate? Remember that 10 bob the phone, mate? Last week? Sure you are.
Here we are now. You've got lots of people around you today. Isn't that nice now? Centre of attraction.
Sorry, could I just one with the Lady Captain and the Captain? Sorry about that. Right, yeah.
And those cold ones, I just put them behind you.
There we are. It's lovely.
But the nurse is better in the
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to proceed just to the edge of the first fairway on the left, where the Lady Captain will plant a tree. And then following that, down to the 18th fairway. Thank you very much.
Have you here. Thank you so much for coming. Really, thank you, Kai.
Thank you for inviting me.
Wonderful. Kai, you like to be called Kai, isn't that right?
Yes,
Yes.
Kay.
Kay.
But we haven't overheard here in this here.
I'd now like to call upon the lady captain to stand for three. It is in fact a ginkgo biloba, which I'm sure you've all heard of. It's the oldest known tree. It will grow to 70 feet. It's been placed here especially so you can't hit it with your drive. And it was rediscovered in China in 1727 and first rediscovered in UK in 1758. All useless information.
I need another one. Ginkgo biloba. There. You want to start with? There.
Stone placed below the tree.
Lovely.
Good scratches has it. You're on camera,
I'm very
Feed us the bite. Sequoia. Sequoia. It is also a very old tree and is likely, we hope, to grow to 100 feet. So it'll block your drive or your second shot or whatever it is coming over this. So I hand you over to you, Mr. Captain.
It's my very great pleasure to present the Metis book. The lady captain got a tree that she could pronounce. And anyway, it is my great pleasure to put the first sod on the Metis sequoia. And when it gets to 100 feet, we'll all come back and admire it. It's not just a Metis sequoia, it's a Metis sequoia Captain,
after what you do, that Dr. McLean would like to see in the office. He would like to interview you for Green Star.
What's that say, Michael? Ground under repair?
That'd be my pleasure. Yes, nobody must drive in this direction. Let the sequoia.
Well done.
Shoving cup. This is a Bernard Manning joke. 2 spades at balloon.
Very good.
Thank you. Our lovely spades, and I'm going to get mine inscribed.
That's a good idea.
Yes, definitely. Are you not? Vivian, would you like your spade inscribed? This is Ken's actually.
Yeah.
Will you be...
That's right, I might as well resign now. Lauren Harbour wasn't always like that. You wanted me to do it?
I want to do one thing Hi, are you? Are you well? Good. My right hand.
And we certainly don't like the white.
The white and see. Try to cut the ladies' cap.
Where's the lady captain?
Have arrived.
Now, I have only swung 9 hours.
There you go.
You ready, Madam Captain? Can I fire the gun?
Yes. You need bears? Yes.
Hey, Captain!
You nearly catch it.
Would you kindly switch off just for a minute?
No, moose.
Would you kindly switch off? Now, where are we going? Ooh. Here we go. Go away! Really putting it up to you today.
Now, what I want to say here is Jane is not a flower arranger.
She's a golfer, yes. Keep your eye on the ball, Jane.
You went at my tree!
Oh, you missed it. I missed it. I couldn't have down as well. Go away. Go away. Go away. We've had enough of you. Bye-bye. Bye. Oh, where's the lady cat?
Thank you very much. Bye. anyway.
Lovely day. Of course not.
Oh, no. And they say, it's very unusual. It's okay.
Really, you're not. What have you done? What? What have they done? What do you mean? You're on, John, you're on. Morris. Not there.
Yeah, we could have gone in that way.
Here, could you get a few of those into the
paper, the press?
sky or wherever?
Gentlemen, will you please stand to receive the captain, the ladies' captain, and their distinguished guests? on to the captain, who will say grace.
Gracious God, on this historic occasion, we thank you for the fraternity of the golfing world, which knows no boundary of creed, colour or class. We thank you and praise you for the many blessings which you have favoured this club for over 100 years. In the days to come, may our fairways be made straight, and our greens made sure, and the roughs of life made safe. Amen.
Captain, ladies captain, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, pray silence for Mr. Declan Howley, the President of the Golfing Union of Ireland, who will propose the toast, Malone Golf Club.
Mr. Captain of Malone Golf Club, Lady Captain, Mr. President, Colette Holmes, President of the Irish Ladies Golf Union, colleagues from the Golfing Union of Ireland, golfers one and all, ladies and gentlemen, and I should say visiting dignitaries as well. First of all, on behalf of my wife Felicia and myself, I would like to thank Malone Golf Club for inviting us here today to join with you in celebrating the centenary year of Malone Golf Club. It is a great honour to attend such a historic occasion, and I can assure you we appreciate very, very much indeed your invitation. Today we live in a society that takes an awful lot for granted. But the members of Malone Golf Club and the golfers of Ireland owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to those men of the past who had the foresight to introduce to this facility, to this area, the facility which is now being enjoyed by the members of this golf club and all the visitors and golfers in this country. We all know about Augusta National in the state of Georgia, but you don't have to leave Ireland to get Augusta, you just come to Malone. I watched a TV program last year, I think it was on Ulster Television, and it was Ronan Rafferty doing various golf clubs in Ulster. And in that program, David McLean, John Hanna and Brian Murrow were interviewed, and one of them summed up what Malone really is. And I can't remember which one it was, but he said that Malone was a sanctuary of contentment and great golf, and he couldn't describe it better. On the playing fields, you've won 8 senior cups, 1 junior cup, 4 Barton Shields, 3 Ulster Cup, and 15 Belfast and District Cup. That's a tremendous achievement. You have also had Brendan Cashel, our captain, the late Billy Ferguson, Alan Humphreys, David Nelson, and David Young representing Ireland at international level. And actually I had the privilege in 1963 and 1965, I'm a member, by the way, of Ross's Point Golf Club, of watching Michael Cragen win the West of Ireland Championship. Of course, I'll have to state that I was a very young boy at that time. You have also have 12 interprovincials over the years in the golf club. And in the administration of golf, you have had the late Billy Ferguson, President of the Golfing Union of Ireland, non-playing Captain of Ireland, non-playing Captain of Ulster, and Captain of the Chairman of the Ulster branch and RNA Selector. And Don McAville, President of the Golfing Union of Ireland, Chairman of the Ulster branch, and non-playing Captain of Ulster. And that's a tremendous achievement for a golf club to produce gentlemen of that nature. But even more so, golf in Ireland, literally almost since 1948, Malone Golf Club has had its finger tightly on the purse of the Golfing Union of Ireland, because Fred Adams, Charlie Adams, and now Rolla McClure have been the honorary treasurers of the Golfing Union of Ireland. And I can assure you, with those gentlemen, and especially with the new treasurer, there's no way anybody can get money to spend. And my expenses are checked very, very carefully. Also, the present honorary secretary of the Ulster branch, Billy Black, is a member of Malone Golf Club. I had the pleasure of playing golf today with Billy and with Jeremiah Dowling and the captain. And it turned a bit wet there on the 11th hole, so we decided we'd come in. They're not used to Ross's Point weather. But a funny thing happened when we were out there. Jeremiah pulled his tee shot, I think it was on the 7th hole, and I went over to help him to look for the ball, and there were some stones around. There was one particular rock, and he gave it a shove, and up popped a tiny little leprechaun. And he says, "Thanks very much, sir." He says, "Thanks a lot. I've been stuck in there for the last 100 years. Anything you want is yours." Now, Jeremy had his little dog with him, you see, and he said, "Well, I'd love this little dog to win first prize in Crufts." So the leprechaun looked at the dog, and it had one eye, no tail, one ear, and 3 legs. And the leprechaun says, "Well, is there anything else you'd like?" So Jeremy said, "I'd love to win the British Open." "Great," says he, "would just swing your club there." So Jeremy swung the club, and the leprechaun said to him, "I think we'll have another look at that dog." I would like to say a special word of thanks to the caterers that put up this excellent meal to 480 people this evening. It was really tremendous achievement. I was told by a captain I had 4 minutes, and I think I've exceeded that. So finally, I'd just like to say thank you very, very much indeed for asking us here today. And all I can wish and Felicia for the members of Malone Golf Club is every piece of happiness and enjoyment you can have for the remainder of this centenary year and the years ahead. Now, before I sit down, I know I have 2 things to do. The first, I have to, she's keeping an eye on me here. I want to, on behalf of the Golfing Union, just present to the captain for Malone Golf Club a small memento to commemorate your centenary. Okay.
The 4 provinces of Ulster from the Golfing Union. Thank you very much, Dick. That is lovely. We'll cherish that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I would ask you all to stand and charge your glasses, and we drink a toast to Malone Golf Club.
Toast is Malone Golf Club.
Thank you.
Pray silence from Mr. R.M. Cragen, the captain, Malone Golf Club.
Mr. President of the Golfing Union of Ireland, Madam President, Irish Ladies Golf Union, Lady Captain, honoured guests, fellow members. Mr. President, sir, thank you very much indeed for your very kind remarks about Malone Golf Club, and the gift that you have given us from the Golfing Union will be cherished and be put in a place of honour.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to say on my part what a great honour it is to be captain of Malone in this our centenary year. It's a sobering thought, and I really do feel very humble when I think of the multitude of golfers and diverse characters who have passed through the portals of this club for over 100 years, creating its history and our inheritance, of which we can all feel justifiably proud. This evening I had thought of reminiscing about events and personalities encountered down the years, but the night wouldn't be long enough and the content probably slanderous, so I won't. But it is difficult for us to imagine what golf at Malone would have been like 100 years ago. From all accounts, it was fairly primitive, the first course being laid out at New Forge Lane on what had formerly been an old polo ground. I must admit I wasn't aware we played polo in this country, but I've little doubt it was no coincidence that thereafter we've always been recognized as a Paca club. But difficult as it may be to imagine those early days, we do have reference libraries, and very soon we will have the great pleasure of reading John Hanna's book on the history of the club. His researching has been a labor of love, for which he deserves great credit and the eternal thanks of all the members and future generations. It is from such sources, therefore, we can glean sufficient information to stimulate the imagination and give us some insight to those days. But for Ernest Young, the first captain, and his fellow members, it would have been totally impossible and beyond the bounds of their imagination to have envisaged golf as it is today
and the extraordinary development of the game in that passage of time, from gutty and hickory to graphite and paletta. But the infant club developed rapidly, soon outgrowing the facilities at New Forge, and after about a year moved to Stranmillis, where a fine 18-hole course was laid out. The clubhouse is still intact and stands at the corner of the Stranmillis Road in Richmond Park, and is now the residence of Claire Connery of culinary fame. Incidentally, I lived for many years opposite the old clubhouse on what is believed to have been the site of the 18th green. So perhaps I can claim to have a tenuous tie with our early development. It was during its tenure at Stranmillis, which was to last for some 23 years, that the club firmly established itself on the Irish golfing scene. In 1902, F.B. Newitt won the Irish Close Championship from an entry, would you believe, of 31. To date, he is the only Malone golfer to have achieved this honour. And in 1905, 10 years after the club's inception, the Irish Senior Cup was won for the first time. This was followed by further victories in 1908 and 9, thus creating the foundation on which the club was to build an enviable reputation. The course at Stranmillis measured 5,355 yards, comprising 8 5s, 7 4s, and 3 3s, making a bogey, old Colonel, of 77. Today's par equivalent would be 66. Golf continued there until after the First World War, but Belfast was expanding rapidly, so the council and members, in their wisdom, decided on a further move outside the city to Upper Malone on the Harberton estate. The new clubhouse and course was opened in 1919 by the captain and one of the great benefactors of this club, Jack Stevenson, thus bringing the history of Malone into the realms of living memory. 43 years later, again as captain, he was to open Ballydrain, where we now reside and for which he had done so much to acquire. Malone, so to speak, was now at Malone and was soon to be recognised as one of the finest parkland courses in the province. From its new home, the club quickly reasserted its authority by winning the Senior Cup and Barton Shield in 1921, a unique double not since repeated, and the Senior Cup again in 1922, which was also the year in which Alfie Lowe, a very distinguished member, became the only Malone golfer to win the Irish Amateur Open Championship. The following year, we recorded our one victory in the Junior Cup. In 1936, we reclaimed the Barton Shield, and with the dark clouds of war approaching in 1939, Jean Marks, one of Malone's outstanding lady golfers, of whom we've had many, achieved the distinction of reaching the final of the British Amateur Championship, only to be beaten narrowly by the great Pam Barton, who was tragically killed in the war shortly afterwards. Many years later, in the mid-1950s, Jean was involved in an intriguing challenge match, billed as the Battle of the Sexes. Judge W.W.B. Topping had expounded in the bar at some length to Tommy Marks, Jean's husband, that any self-respecting, single-handicapped male golfer such as he would beat any female. The hackles were raised, the gauntlet thrown down, and a not inconsiderable wager was laid. The match took place on a warm Sunday summer's afternoon before a sizable crowd. Big gallery, actually. Ladies, you will be delighted to hear that that lady was not for turning or wanting, and to the joy of the fair sex on the day, she dog-licensed the good judge. by defeating him 7-up and 6-to-play. Ever since then, we all know, the ladies of Malone have been held in reverence by their male counterparts. We have. During the war, the clubhouse was headquarters for the local Dad's Army, and the fairways trimmed by grazing sheep, and a horse-drawn single-track moor under the guidance of the Queen-Keeper's daughter. A far cry indeed from the sophisticated machinery now at the disposal of Dr. McLean and Frank Ainsworth. When the war ended, the course soon reverted to its high standard under the direction of Jim Bridges. This club has indeed been blessed with outstanding course managers, and today in Frank Ainsworth we have one of the finest in the British Isles. Six years after the war, Malone again made its mark on the Irish scene by winning the Senior Cup. But 1952 was a particularly auspicious year in the club's history. I joined. At a non-affordable subscription of 5 guineas. Persuaded by the late Cecil McConnell, he assured me there would be some reasonable competition. That act of joining Malone was one of the best things I ever did in my life. It opened many doors and gave me the opportunity to play competitive golf throughout Ireland. But more importantly, it created bonds through golf and friendships that will last for a lifetime. In my early days at Malone, I had the good fortune to play a lot with Billy Ferguson, whose influence was inestimable, and whose contribution, already referred to by the President, as a player and administrator was quite outstanding. He is sadly missed, and how much he would have enjoyed this party. We continued to have our successes, winning again the Senior Cup in 1954 and 5, and the Barton Shield in 1961. But the crack was good too, and there was many a gathering around the piano on a Saturday night. Don McAville, later to become President of the Golfing Union of Ireland, giving a tear-jerking rendition of the Whip and Poof song. Barry Crimble, later to become President of the Golfing Union of Ireland, tinkling the ivories and singing his heart-rending version of Mammy, oft times accompanied by the now Lord Lowry, with Billy Ferguson, later to become President of the Golfing Union of Ireland, looking on disdainfully. And all this frequently interrupted by Ernest Clark, tunelessly breaking into Ancient and Royal, a tribal song from one of the local schools, which he quite deliberately introduced to provoke those in the gathering who went to another place of learning, not far, I gather, from Parliament Buildings. Jack Stevenson had a vision, and that vision was to acquire the Ballydrain estate for the club. His tireless endeavours achieved that goal, and in the spring of 1962 he opened this course, which, without doubt, will be the club's final home. And it was so very appropriate that his sister-in-law, Kathleen McCausland, whose life incredibly has spanned that of the club, helped raise the Centenary flag on the 25th of April this year. It is hard to believe that we came here 33 years ago, In that time, we've had further victories and near misses. Our ladies have also contributed greatly, inspired by the ever-charming Anne MacLean. The club has flourished. We have 27 of the finest holes, a bowling green, the envy of all who come to play, a lake stocked with the finest trout, and if we could only hit the ball up the middle, it really would be a heaven on earth. We have much to be thankful for, including, I might say, tonight, which didn't just happen by accident. And on your behalf, I would thank all those who have put so much hard work into organizing this evening's gala celebration. I would particularly mention Gordon Featherston, Brian White, and Morris Diamond. And what can we say about the floral decorations, which we behold with awe under the direction of our lady captain and her team. They have done an absolutely fabulous job. Finally, we can indeed look back on the achievements of the first 100 years at Malone with a lot of pride and satisfaction, and to the future with much confidence. For now, as we embark on our second century, the starting point is very far removed from an old polo pitch. Thank you.
Captain, Lady Captain, fellow members of Malone, distinguished guests, I would like now this evening to formally introduce to you the guests of honour. I do it in no order of ascension or descension, nor by age nor beauty. We have with us the President of the Golfing Union of Ireland, Mr. Declan Howley, and his wife, Mrs. Colette Holmes, the President of the Irish Ladies Golfing Union, Mr. O'Hara, Chairman of the Ulster branch of the Golfing Union of Ireland, and his wife, Billy Black, the Honorary Secretary of the Ulster branch of the Golfing Union of Ireland, and his wife, Mrs. Jane Allen, Chairman of the Northern District of the Irish Ladies Golfing Union, and her husband Mark. We're particularly delighted to have Dr. Kevin Pupur, his wife Mindy, and his mother Norma from New York. We have also Colonel John Sankey from the Northern Ireland Army Golfing Society and his wife Lorraine. And finally we have Mr. Gilbert Payton and his wife. Ladies and gentlemen, you will be undoubtedly wondering why I'm addressing you this evening. And I must confess, these thoughts ran through my mind as I sat at dinner this evening. Why me? Well, I better explain to you. I'm here as a result of a quite cleverly executed pincer movement. Now, Gilbert, I said pincer. Gilbert has just woken up and he's thought I've said pincher, and the hand's going, Gilbert, if you do that, there'll be a claim against you. No. Gilbert, if you don't understand what a pincer movement is, it's a military term. Tom King and Martin Johnson, they're in the last war, they'll explain that to you afterwards. Well, this pincer movement was executed on one hand by that fertile sexagenarian, Mr. Jimmy Hines, and by Mr. Gordon Featherston. Now, you will note I hesitate to use any adjectives for him. His little cherubic face means that he has an undetermined age, and as to his propagative prowess, we'll leave that to chance, and maybe we'll see what happens after tonight. But anyway, these two, they said to me, came at me both sides, "You've got to speak tonight." And I said, well, as a solicitor, you know, I'm not keen on speaking in public for nothing. Certainly that's a matter which Mr. George Palmer and I will agree on. In fact, it's probably the only matter in which George Palmer and I would agree. And I said to them, bluntly, what's in it for me? Well, they said, there's this competition coming up. It's a Centenary Silver competition. And I said, well, what's that? They said, you've seen the trophies in the cabinet. Those two wee trays that Gordon's wife got from her Argus catalogue. There's one of those up for grabs. We could fix the handicaps. So I said, well, you're beginning to talk sense. That's all right. So what did they do? They went to the council. The council fixed the handicaps. But true to form, the council got the wrong Gowdy. My brother, I'm the golfer in our family, but my brother wins the Centenary Silver. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's obviously not on. So I then say to them, well, what about a perk? They said, what would you like? I said, I would like something that would distinguish me from everybody else at Malone. I said, I would like to be the one that can use the downstairs men's bar, the downstairs mixed bar, wearing casual clothes. Well, they said to that, we'll have to think about that, but that's on the AGM next year, and next year, and next year. Well, you know that council don't like to make a rash decision about anything, do they don't? Well, I said, if that's not on, what about a special parking place for me? Every member of the council now has a parking space. The window cleaner has a parking space. Everybody. Well, they said, we'll have to go and think about it. And they came back and said, the only way you can get that, is if you change your name. I said, well, now, what do you mean? Well, they said, you have a choice. You can either change it to Hitler or Ferguson. And I said, well, now, I said, that's strange. It's not like Malone to give you a choice. I said, there's no choice. That's synonymous up here. So, at this stage, the negotiations were beginning to get very fraught. And I saw their eyes looking at that lake out there and looking at me. Instead of me being here, I thought I might be in it, because flashed through my mind was a story which I had heard about a colleague of mine, a solicitor who was in the practice in the north of Scotland. He was quite an insufferable person. He was, I'll describe him to you, he was sort of tall, he was balding, he looked a bit like Basil Fawlty or John Cleese, a sort of person who would have made Alan Kirk look a decent guy. And the local vicar and the parish priest decided that they would have to do something about it for the sake of good order within the community. So they knew he liked fishing, and they took him out into the lake. So there they were in the morning, fishing away, and about 10:30 the vicar said, he said, it's time for coffee. I like my coffee. Would you like some? And they all said yes. So he hopped over the side of the boat and walked across the water, brought back the coffee, and they had it. They fished on. It came to lunchtime. Parish priest said, well, he said, would you like lunch? Spot of lunch would go down very well. So he, over the side of the boat, walked back across the water into the boat, and had a very nice lunch. Continued fishing until it came to 4 o'clock. So the sister said, yes, tea would be very nice. And I said, well, it's my turn, I'd better do something about it. So he stepped over the side of the boat and went down to the bottom. And as the last bubble came up, the vicar said to the parish priest, he said, Father, we've sinned terribly. Do you not think we should have told him about the stepping stones? And of course, ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you that the vicar was very quickly replaced. And he was replaced by a young curate. Very nice young man, but his one problem was he had a very bad speech impediment. And this was a danger, this was a detriment to him, making contact with his parishioners, and he thought he would like to make more contact with them, and he was encouraged to go to the local golf club and play a game of golf. So he spoke to the secretary, and the secretary said, well, there's a very nice young lady out there, why don't you go round with her? So round he went, and not a word was spoken for the first hole, not for the second, until he summoned up courage. They had lost the ball, it was in the rough, and he said to her, my name's Peter, and I'm not a saint. And she looked at him with a smile and rolled the eyes and said, well, my name's Mary, and I'm not a very good golfer. The curate got married. The ladies think this is a romantic story, but not to Mary. He married the most terrible harridan. The sort of woman who would want to be able to use the snooker room. You know the sort? The sort of woman who would want to have the women's exclusive use in the tea on Wednesday afternoons and Saturdays. Terrible. You can imagine what life was like for that poor man. So in the end, he killed her. He killed her, and at his trial, the trial judge asked him, he said to him, Reverend sir, how did you kill your wife? He said, I hit her with 3 blows of my 9-iron. So he looked down and he said, tell me, why 3 blows? Oh, he said, the first 2 I lifted my head. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it certainly is a surprise for me to be here tonight. It's a surprise because I am very surprised to see the President of the Golfing Union of Ireland here tonight. Now, this may seem strange, but you commoners down there don't realise that at the top table we get special treatment. We got very special, beautifully handwritten invitations. Now, they were handwritten, grown-up writing. And I thought, well, now, that's going to present a problem for the President, but he's here today. I certainly am not surprised to see Gilbert Payton. I am surprised that Teddy Hanna was not more faithful and looking after the club's money, because Teddy, there was no point in getting Gilbert here for a free meal, because he'd do anything for a free drink. You could have had him for nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, it certainly is an important occasion in the history of Malone. Now, nations mark their important occasions in classic times. They would have had an ode. Now, see, Gilbert's woken up again. Gilbert, I know when you went to the pictures, you didn't get a poem read to you, but I mean by classic, not that cinema where the home stores are. You know that. I mean Greek and Roman times. Tom and Martin will explain to you afterwards. Don't worry about it. Greek and Roman times, or in Viking times, or Anglo-Saxon times, you had an ode or a saga. And I think it would be important that this occasion did not pass without a node. And with your permission, Mr. Clapton, I have prepared a node to Malone. In order? Yeah? Now, I would apologise certainly to Longfellow and Hiawatha and to Gray's Elegy in a Country Churchyard. But if you would listen to me, Ode to Malone. If you ask me whence the story, whence the pride, and what the glory, I will sing to you of golf. Club and ball and green and fairway, where the players almost gifted chip and drive and putt and swing. Some score ferrets, some make oozlers, unknown to them, or hooks and slices, or any other golfing crisis. Once, when April showers were falling over Belfast's mills and shipyards, worthy burghers, stressed and weary, turned to sport to ease the strain. Golf, not polo, was the rage when there in 1895 Malone was born at Newford Lane. Even then, so many members crowded o'er the narrow course that a fresh green sward was sowed at Richmond on the old Stranmillis Road. 2 moves more as town met country brought the club in 62 to its present parkland setting at Ballydrain with lakes so blue. Let me praise the mighty heroes down the passage of the years. Once with Massey and with Niblick strode they onward midst the cheers. Now they talk of carbon fibre, boring shafts and putters ping. Trophy hunters, medal winners, victory to Malone will bring. Let us not forget the others, golfers who are mortals meek, who with friends and golfing brothers stride along the course each week with putt, chip drive, to get a score to win the Cup of Derrimore. Representing golf in Ireland, both from Connacht, is it fair? Greetings to Connacht and Declan, who their honours proudly wear. Of Ulster and the Northern District, Jane and Peter take the chairs. At Fort William in Portrush, they leave behind their worldly cares. Yankee Malone in New York State sent Kevin with his mum and mate. Will Colonel John be GOC, or Captain of the NIAG Society? To speak for all, from RCD comes ex-prop forward Peyton G. Tell me not, as shades are falling, when the sunset comes around, that the joy of golf is palling, and pleasure can no more be found. To you I say that as you dine, and just before you start to dance, when still you have your glass of wine, towards the next 100th glance, here the cautious poet pauses, till the great event is o'er, for it is not well foretelling what the future has in store. For this paradise of pleasure, where the town and country meet, will there just be mighty forests with some flower beds at our feet? Will it then be found a trial to time your round by that sundial? The weary golfer still will he come plodding homeward from the tee. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme running through our evening has been the celebration of a centenary. We have enjoyed that centenary. We enjoyed that celebration. We look forward to a centenary in the next 100 years. That we have enjoyed the centenary in the past, and that we look forward to another 100 years, comes in no small way from the help, the appreciation, the support, and the camaraderie that we have enjoyed from the people, the organisations and the clubs that our guests represent here this evening. In your name, I would bid them most heartily welcome, and that all that remains for me is to ask the Master of Ceremonies to formally propose a toast to our guests.
Ladies and gentlemen, the toast is the guest.
Well done.
Captain.
Oh. Mr. Captain, Lady Captain, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I love a marquee. Do you know that a marquee brings back so many memories for me? You know, nothing promotes nostalgia like a few drinks and a bad memory. But it was in a marquee that I first danced with a girl. And I was getting on so well with her, I chanced the dreadful question. I said to her, any chance of having the last dance with you? She says, you're having it. And it's great to get out and get a decent meal. You would understand if you're living with a vegetarian. And the pipers. Well, I just love the pipers. You know, of course, why those Scottish guys wear kilts? Well, it's because sheep can hear a man zip from 30 yards. And the real reason they have double glazing is so as the children can't hear the ice cream van. And wasn't it marvellous tonight about Ireland and the rugby? Tremendous. Do you know who said the famous saying now of this World Cup, as Ireland are well used to it, defeat is okay? Nelson Mandela's chiropodist. When I was asked to speak here this evening on behalf of your guests, my first reaction was, why me? I'm not aware of having done anybody at Malone any harm. Some of you people are probably saying to yourselves, Gilbert who? Well, I am a House member, which is quite an achievement for the first century. It's actually occasions like this when you tend to meet people that you haven't seen for a long time. I often see people I haven't maybe seen for 30 years. And I would have to say that, in my view, they're beginning to look their age. Which, in fact, serves them bloody right. Now you know how I've felt for the last 30. I was distressed this evening when it was about 7 o'clock, when it was very wet and windy, and I was thinking, well, it must be one of the only good things about being bald. And I was distressed about the ladies and their haircuts and hairstyles, I should say, and the wind blowing and all. But maybe you don't, or in fact I'm sure you don't realise that I have a lot of trouble too with my hairdresser. And I was with him not so long ago, but I've actually been with him for a long time, and he's been incessantly rude to me, talking about things like chamois, and I'll draw the curtain, will I? The sun's quite strong. And he's been particularly rude, and I don't know why I keep going back, but I do. But I've now finished. Last week, he was standing behind me, leering over me. I could take it no longer. He says to me, you know, sir, the top of your head's as smooth as my wife's behind. I said, I know. This lovely setting, fine food, fine wine, a lot better than I can tell you that what happened to me when I was in a hotel not so long ago at a function, and when they gave the toast to absent friends, they coupled it with the name of the wine waiter. Regular patrons said that the head waiter had died recently, and a lot of them had gathered up some money, and they had bought a headstone for him, and they had inscribed on it, God eventually caught his eye. A good day for all of us here this evening, when in 1959 Jack Stevenson asked Billy Ferguson and Don McErville to walk the land at Ballydrain, then owned by Mr. Maynard Morrison. However, at the end of that year, Mr. Stevenson was most frustrated not only with Mr. Morrison, but also the lack of support from a section of club members. At an extraordinary general meeting, Mr. Stevenson, Mr. Bingham, and 2 others were empowered to negotiate the purchase of Ballydrain. This decision was carried by the casting vote of the then chairman. The foresight of Jack Stevenson is visible for all to see today. 260 acres where people of quality gather to have fun and make friends. Fondly referred to as the Augusta of Ireland, its reputation both at home and abroad continues to grow, and it is now deservedly rated as one of the finest inland courses in Britain. In last week's Sunday Times, Margaret Thatcher said that John Major had committed the cardinal sin of Thatcherism. That was compromise. I'm sure the council and members of Malone will never compromise in maintaining its high standards both on the course and in the clubhouse. When the course was finally purchased, Jack Stevenson penned an ode to mark the approach to Ballydrain, an extract from which I'd like to read to you. "'Tis often I am asked to write a song of Ballydrain. I'm asked by James behind the bar again and yet again. But somehow penning verses is not like shelling peas, and when there's naught to write about, it's mighty hard to please. And so the song of Ballydrain will have to wait a while until it can be set out in really proper style. It must await some future date when members of the club have settled down beyond the town and gladly paid their sub." Now, a serious mistake was nearly made. The club nearly didn't purchase Ballydrain. Mistakes can be made by anybody. I like the story of a son who wrote home to his mummy and said, "Dear mummy, I can't tell you where I am, but last week I chased a grizzly bear." About a month later, another letter came home and it said, "Dear mother, I'm sorry I'm not able to say where I am, but last Saturday evening I kissed a lovely Malaysian girl." Sometime later, another letter came in which read, "Dear mother, I'm still not able to tell you where I am, but I will tell you this. I wish I'd kissed the bear and chased the girl." Although we are here tonight to celebrate the birthday of the club, there are those, as in any club, who are disposed to give up their time gladly to serve as office bearers. On this occasion, we have two members who you have honoured with the highest possible accolade, captain in your centenary year. I, of course, refer to Michael Cregan and Patsy Pedlow. I must confess that I do not know Michael personally, but I know of his many achievements in amateur golf. A distinguished international who, I'm told, had a particularly skilled short game, lethal from 10 foot, and that's only the men talking. But overall, to be brought back as captain in centenary year must surely tell the tale of the regard in which he is held in this club. On the other hand, I know Patsy very well, and I would only have this to say: if a club is a place expressly for camaraderie, merriment, good cheer and goodwill, and expert flower arranging, then it must have been a very easy decision to invite Patsy to be your ladies' centenary captain. On behalf of all your guests here this evening, I would like to wish Michael and Patsy a very pleasant year. Other members who have distinguished themselves this year include an old friend of mine who I know to be dedicated, hard-working, suave, debonair, ladies' man, golfer of note. What more can I say about Norman Ferguson? What more can I say? No, maybe I got that wrong. I think that was meant to be Brian White. Hardly matters. You said for either, couldn't you? Norman already this year has followed Miss McCausland round the course, I'm told. Struggling to keep up with her. Your oldest member at 105, I believe. She regrets very much not being able to be here this evening. She in fact phoned me last night from Zermatt and said the snow's so good she's staying for a second week. Talking about elderly ladies, there's a distressing story told of a lady who lived alone with her 2 dogs, and one night she was woken by quite a bit of screeching and sort of odd sounds coming from the kitchen, and in fact when she went down she found that in fact the dogs were unable to come apart, and she was very distressed about this. But she had a good friend, a vet, and she phoned the vet 3 o'clock in the morning. And she said, "Willie, I have a problem. Honestly, you know, it's difficult for me to explain, but you know what I mean?" He said, "I do. Have you tried throwing water over them?" She said, "Well, in fact, I have, but it didn't work." Well, have you a tin tray with lots of cutlery? Could you try and drop it from a large height? She said, "In fact, to be honest, I've tried that and it didn't work." "Oh, well," says the vet, "I tell you what to try. Tell the male dog that there's a phone call for him." "Oh," says the elderly lady, "will that work?" "Well," says the vet, "it just did with me." Anyway, I'd like to mention my old friend Whiter's illness in the course a few weeks back. I'm told the recovery was pretty rapid, as Mickey Brennan was close enough to administer the kiss of life. A medical friend of mine told me on hearing of Brian's illness that a golfer hitting a good shot when not used to doing same can be affected in different ways. You may not be aware of it, but Brian White outside Malone in fact has time to do quite a bit of charity work. He actually was up in Purdysburn last week, and he was asked to come and do some work within the community there. But when he arrived, as with all new people, he was asked to tell the patient who he was and what he did. So he stood up to his full height and he said, "My name is Brian White. I'm a past captain of Malone Golf Club, a former member of the Northern Bank. I'm a past chairman of North of Ireland Cricket and Football Club. I'm a trustee of the Ulster Sports and Recreation Trust, former church warden to the Dean of Belfast, and a former naval officer." To which one of the patients said, "Don't worry about it. When I came in here, I thought it was Napoleon." I'd also like to mention Teddy Hanna, your token Estonian. Yep, there's no doubt they're everywhere. Soon to become shareholders in Sainsbury's, I say. I remember my year at Campbell, a pupil leaving to go to Inst, and it was generally recognised at the time that by doing so he had improved the lot of both schools. Then, of course, I must congratulate your Centenary Committee Chairman, Gordon Featherston. I'm told that he is known up here as the Exorcist. Every time he comes into your house, your spirits disappear. Talking of drink, I heard an interesting story. So a wee man up the Shankill Road, he won £100,000 in the lottery. 6 months later, he hadn't a penny. And the boys in the pub were saying, "What on earth happened, Sammy?" "It's all gone." "Well," he said, to tell you the truth, what happened was I spent 90,000 off it in drink and I just squandered the rest." While mentioning a few, it of course is the members who make the club. They are the club. And finally, I would leave you with this thought. Atmosphere is not a natural phenomenon. It must be created. It is born of integrity, justice, and ability. That it has been created and nurtured here is obvious. It is manifest in the bearing of the captain and the council. It is reflected in the happy expression of the members. Atmosphere is essential to an institution of this kind. Where it pervades, then enjoyment is imparted in ideal circumstances. Is it any wonder then that Malone Golf Club holds such a deservedly high reputation? To all of you, we wish you well, and on behalf of all your guests, I give you the toast, Malone Golf Club. Thank you.
Toast is Malone Golf Club. Mr. Colin Gardy has already expressed a welcome to our guest from New York. A very much pleasure in calling upon Dr. Pupur to make a presentation to the captain.
Well, that's a tough act to follow. Those two guys are professionals. Those people are all professionals. On behalf of myself, my mother and my wife and myself, I'd like to thank you for your gracious welcome while we're here visiting from the States. And it's certainly a beautiful golf course, and everything about it is beautiful. I'd really like to especially thank David Lamb and his beautiful wife Eileen for holding my hand while I've been here, and taking me out to dinner and showing me around and go here, you know, teaching me how to speak the correct English. In fact, I've been struggling with the word Centenary the whole week. Yeah, in fact, Americans would say centennial. But I don't feel that bad because I've been listening to people struggle with my last name. I've heard every variation I could go through. Pupur, that's the correct way to say it. But the members of the Malone Golf Club have many things to be thankful for. You have a beautiful course. The fairways are plush. The greens are true. I've developed an intimate relationship with a lot of the trees here this week. I've been under the trees, over the trees occasionally, into the trees mostly. You know, you have a beautiful golf clubhouse. It's got a lot of history. It's got a lot of character. But most importantly, and as my previous speaker mentioned, you have a warm and gracious membership, and that's what makes a golf club. So. As you know, 7 or 8 years ago, when my Malone opened its second course, we invited your captain to come and visit that occasion, and on that occasion, Brian Boyd and his wife Glennis came to visit. And as a result, we have a picture of your clubhouse sitting in our main dining room. As a return gesture from the Malone Golf Club, I'd like to present a picture of our clubhouse in recognition of your centennial, or centenary, so I'll stay out of trouble. And hopefully you'll be able to put it up somewhere where future people from Malone, New York can come and see it, as well as people from here. I've been kind of ordered to keep it short and sweet, because by now you're getting tired of sitting here listening to everybody talk. And I'm kind of reluctant to give this up. I've been carrying it through every airport, Burlington, Shannon, on a tour bus, in the back seat of my car when I'm playing golf. So I sort of feel like it's attachment underneath my arm. I'd like to just extend an open invitation to any of you to come and visit the other Malone. We'd be happy to have you. Don't all come on the same weekend. And just a warning. You better come in the summer. Our winters are severe. Or bring your skis. That would be fine. And I just want to make sure, though, that you're all rooting for the right team in the next Ryder Cup match that's coming up. So, here's a picture of the other Malone with a little recognition for your centennial, once again, or your centenary. See, I can say it now. There we go. So.
Hands across the Atlantic from one Malone to the other. Thank you so very much. Thank you very much indeed. Bless you. And the Popper family.
Maybe I should make a toast to the Malone Golf Clubs, plural.
To the Malones.
Malone Golf Club.
Thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that now completes the formal part of the evening. One final thing I think has to be said, and that is a thank you to Robert Price and the office and the management of the team, Mr. and Mrs. Longmuir for the catering tonight. And to Sheridan and his team. To our speakers, thank you so very much for all the kind remarks you said about Malone. The dance is about to begin. The party's not over. We're now marching into our second century, to our next merry meeting, but the dance is inside. God bless all here.